She said she was staying at her sister's. Her exact words, "Long day, babe. Gonna crash at Lila's tonight." And the thing is, I would have believed her, every single word, if her sister hadn't been sitting right next to me when she sent it. We both stared at the screen. Then I hit record. Lila's smile disappeared, slow and stiff, like a wax figure melting under a heat lamp. Her eyes flicked from my phone to her wine glass and back again. Is she serious?" she whispered. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Her face said it all. Lila knew, or at least she suspected. And now the confirmation buzzed in my hand like a fire alarm. This wasn't how the night was supposed to go. It was game night. Cards, charcuterie, cheap red wine. Me, Lila, her boyfriend Rob, and a couple of friends. We did it every other Friday since I moved back to town. A simple tradition, some laughs, some rivalry, some healing. Because healing is what I thought I'd been doing. A slow, deliberate stitching of the soul. My wife, Marin, and I had been in a rough patch for months. Therapy, long talks, late-night walks with no real destination but the hope of finding each other again. And then last week, she said she needed space. She was feeling disconnected. I respected that. I'd always given her room to breathe, even when I was gasping for air myself. But that night, that text, it wasn't space she needed. It was distance. From me. From the truth. I tapped the screen, holding the message up like evidence in court. Lila's hands trembled slightly as she reached for it. Her nail polish, deep blue, chipped on the edges, reminded me of Marin's. They were close. Not just sisters. Friends. Confidants. And suddenly, that made it worse. I didn't know, Lila said, her voice barely audible. I swear, I didn't know she told you that. I gave a tight nod. I believe you. Because I did. Lila was as stunned as I was. Maybe not surprised, but stunned. There's a difference. Surprised is when something crashes into your world like a rogue wave. Stunned is when you finally see the shape of something you've felt lurking beneath the surface for weeks. I should have seen it sooner. There were signs. Missed calls. That new, always on edge to her tone, like everything I said was just a few syllables too long. Nights where her body lay next to mine, but her mind was off wandering some dim-lit road I wasn't invited to walk. And her phone, always on silent, always face down. But love does this thing. It wraps you in a kind of cotton, soft, muffling, protective, and keeps the sharp edges of doubt at bay. Until it doesn't. I stood up. Quietly. No drama. Lila looked up at me, lips parted as if she wanted to say something. But what? What do you say to the man who just caught your sister lying mid-lie? I'm just gonna get some air, I said, my voice far calmer than I felt. Out on the porch, I didn't light a cigarette. I haven't smoked in years, but I held my hand like I did. Just for the comfort of it. Just to feel like I was doing something. The wind bit a little. October in the Midwest has that bite. That damp chill that crawls under your skin and settles in your bones. I leaned against the railing, closed my eyes, and let it sting. I could have ignored it. Could have waited till morning, pretended she was just tired, or that Lila had been confused. But something in me, something deeper than pride, deeper than heartbreak, demanded I see it through. That I know. So I called her. Just once. It rang. Straight to voicemail. Of course it did. Then I texted her. Hey, hope Lila has an extra blanket. She's sitting right next to me. 3 dots appeared, then vanished, then appeared again, and then nothing. That silence. That was the real confession. Louder than any shouted accusation. It echoed in my chest like a drumbeat I couldn't turn off. Lila came out a few minutes later, a blanket draped around her shoulders, eyes wet but holding steady. I don't think she'll call you back, she said, her voice trembling. She's not herself lately. I nodded again. The wind was getting colder, or maybe it was just me. Lila stepped beside me. You deserve to know, okay? I won't lie for her. I didn't look at her. Is it someone I know? She hesitated. That pause. God, that pause. You've met him, she said finally. But not close. I exhaled, long and slow, like I was trying to push the pain out through my lungs. That should have been enough. Should have called it right there, gone home, slept on the couch, started the slow unraveling of the life we'd built. But I couldn't, because something in me wanted to see it. Not just know, not just suspect. I wanted proof. Not because I didn't believe it, but because believing it hurt less than seeing it. And I needed that pain to be real. So I asked Lila the question I knew she didn't want me to ask. Do you know where she is? Her eyes flickered. Then she nodded. And just like that, the cotton was gone. The muffling ended. The sharp edge of reality pressed into my chest. Will you take me there? She hesitated again. A long, terrible silence that felt like a countdown to something I couldn't undo. Then she whispered, yes. We got in my car. The engine felt too loud. Everything did. The GPS wasn't necessary. Lila gave directions in that soft, broken tone people use at funerals. I didn't ask questions. I didn't want to hear any more lies wrapped in pity. As we turned onto a side street, she reached out and stopped my hand from turning the wheel. There, she said. I followed her gaze. And there it was. Marin's car, parked outside a townhouse I didn't recognize. Lila sat back. You should go alone. I nodded and stepped out. I didn't know what I'd find. I didn't know who he was. I didn't even know what I'd say. But I knew one thing. This moment would change everything. And I was done pretending it wouldn't. The porch light was off. The windows glowed with the soft, amber warmth of a home at rest, a lie wrapped in comfort. My feet crunched against the gravel as I approached the front door. Every step felt like it might wake something buried inside me. Rage? Despair? I didn't know. Just something. I didn't bang. I knocked. 3 polite raps. The kind of knock you'd give your neighbor, not your wife. Not the woman you'd held through surgeries, storms, and 3 pregnancy scares. Not the woman who used to text you, home doesn't feel like home without you. I waited. No answer. Then I saw it, through the narrow slit in the blinds. A flicker of motion, a shadow crossing the living room. And then her face. Marin, peeking, eyes wide, frozen. She saw me. And for a second, time fractured. I wasn't standing on some stranger's porch in the cold. I was back in the hallway of our first apartment, grinning like an idiot with takeout in hand. Her face, lit by laughter. That same expression, startled, vulnerable. Except back then, it meant love. Now it meant fear. The door cracked open an inch. Not enough for me to see in. Just enough for her voice to slide through like smoke. Eli, what are you doing here? That hit harder than I expected. What am I doing here? Like I was the one who'd crossed a line. Like I hadn't just caught her pretending to be with her sister, who, let's remember, was still sitting in my car a few blocks away, chewing her lip and trying not to cry. Thought you were at Lila's, I said. Calm. Dead calm. She didn't answer. Instead, she exhaled. A long, trembling breath. Then the door opened fully. And there he was. He stood behind her, tall, shirtless, confused. I didn't know his name, but I recognized him instantly. I'd seen him once, months ago, at one of her office holiday parties. Clean cut, confident. The kind of guy who spoke in bullet points and always knew where the exits were. The kind of man you don't worry about because your wife says, ugh, he's so full of himself. Apparently, she found room for him anyway. Marin, I said, eyes on her. Do you want me to say it, or do you want to? She swallowed. Her lips parted like she might try to explain, but even she couldn't conjure a lie good enough to cover this. So I said it. You told me you needed space. That you were staying with your sister. You texted me that while sitting next to her. Still, she didn't speak. I turned to the guy behind her. How long? He bristled, probably embarrassed. Probably thinking I'd swing. I didn't. Marin stepped in front of him, hand raised. Eli, please. Don't do this here. My voice dropped, low and even. Where would you prefer I do it? The next therapy session? Or should I just send the footage to your parents? That got her. Her eyes snapped to mine. You recorded. I hit record the second the text came in. Lila and I watched it light up on my screen together. You lied in real time. That's impressive. The man behind her cleared his throat. Look, maybe we should talk about this another time. No, I cut in. We won't. Because there won't be another time. Marin's lip trembled. Eli, I didn't plan for this to happen. I was confused. I didn't. Stop, I said, raising a hand. Not angry. Not loud. Just tired. Don't rewrite it while it's still happening. That's not confusion. That's a decision. She looked down, like a kid caught cheating on a test. I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out the key to our place. It sat in my palm, warm from my grip. I held it up, then set it gently on the porch rail. I'm not coming back. Her breath caught. Please, can we at least talk? Not like this. This is the only way left, Marin, I said. I begged to talk when it mattered. You said you needed time. Turns out, you just needed a better alibi. Her eyes filled. And for a second, I felt sorry for her. Because I could see it, the full realization settling in. That she didn't just lose me. She lost the version of me that would have forgiven her. The man who would have stayed, fought, patched every hole until the boat sank or floated again. That man died the moment she saw me through the blinds and chose silence over honesty. I turned to go. She reached out, fingers grazing my coat. Please, can I call you tomorrow? I looked back at her, just for a moment, then said the truest thing I'd spoken in years. No, tomorrow's already too late. I walked to the car. Lila watched me approach, eyes red-rimmed. You okay? She asked. No, I said, but I will be. I slid into the driver's seat, hands shaking only slightly now. As I pulled away, I didn't look in the rearview mirror. Not once. Because there's nothing behind me worth seeing anymore. Not lies. Not silence. And definitely not her. I didn't go home that night. I drove. No destination. Just miles. Long stretches of empty roads with nothing but the hum of the tires and the sound of my own breath, trying to keep steady. Streetlights blurred past me, one after another, little flickers of routine in a night that had completely abandoned it. I stopped at a rest area sometime past midnight. One of those 24-hour gas stations where even the coffee tastes like regret. I sat on the hood of my car, sipping something that claimed to be dark roast, and watched the moon hang low and cold in the sky. It was quiet, really quiet. The kind of quiet that doesn't comfort, it confronts. Forces you to face every single thing you've been avoiding. And man, there was a lot. I thought about our wedding, about how her hands shook during the vows. Not from nerves, she said, but from joy. I remembered our first apartment, cheap carpet, leaky faucet, and the way we used to lie on the floor just talking about the future like it was this golden thing waiting for us to catch up. I thought about the miscarriage we never told anyone about, and how, in the middle of that grief, we'd promised each other, no matter what, we don't lie. Not to each other. But she did. And the part that stung the most wasn't the betrayal itself. It was how easily it seemed to come to her. How practiced. How casual. She texted the lie, while her own sister was next to me, laughing over Uno cards and a bowl of chips. That's what haunted me, the mundanity of it, the normalness of it. Like betrayal was just another item on her to-do list. Around 2 a.m., I checked into a motel, one of those roadside places where the sheets are stiff and the air smells faintly of mildew and old cigarettes. I didn't care. I just needed a door I could close behind me. I laid on the bed, fully dressed, staring at the ceiling fan ticking above. And then my phone buzzed. It was her. Maren, I'm sorry. I messed up. Please talk to me. I didn't reply. Then came another. Maren, it didn't mean anything. I was confused. I was hurting. I didn't plan for it to happen. And another. Maren, you didn't deserve this. I still love you. That one sat there for a while. I watched the screen until it dimmed. Still didn't respond. Because here's the thing no one tells you. When someone breaks something inside you, there's not always a moment of explosion. Sometimes it's a quiet implosion. A slow collapse of the structure you built together. And when the dust settles, you're not angry. You're not screaming. You're just done. The next morning, I packed my bag and drove back to our apartment. Our old apartment now. I let myself in with the spare key she didn't know I'd kept. She wasn't there. Good. I walked from room to room. Touched the things we'd bought together. The mug from Seattle. The throw blanket from that little roadside shop in Maine. The photo frame with our anniversary date etched in glass. I didn't feel rage. I felt grief. Like I was burying someone who hadn't died, but might as well have. I grabbed a box from the closet and packed only what I needed. Some clothes, my camera, my old journals. I left everything else. The couch we picked out after arguing in the IKEA showroom. The toaster she swore we didn't need, then used every day. Even the record player I loved, it felt tainted now. Before I left, I wrote her a letter. Maren, I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to beg. I won't ask why or how or for how long. I just want to say this. You made a choice. Not once. Not in a moment of weakness. But over and over again. Every text. Every lie. Every night you told me you were working late, while I reheated dinner and waited with stupid hope. You made 1,000 tiny choices that added up to a single truth. I wasn't enough for you anymore. And that's okay. Maybe I never was. But what's not okay is that you didn't tell me. That you let me fight for us alone while you were already gone in every way that mattered. I loved you. God, I really did. And now, I don't know what I feel, but I know what I don't feel, the need to fix this. I wish you peace. I hope he was worth it. Eli. I folded it neatly, placed it on the kitchen counter, and locked the door behind me. That was the last time I saw her apartment. The last time I saw her was a week later, at the lawyer's office. No words, just signatures. She looked tired, smaller, like she'd been hollowed out. I didn't ask if they were still seeing each other. I didn't need to know. That version of me, the one who cared, didn't exist anymore. Now I live in a smaller place. One bedroom, just me and my books. I take photos for a living again, weddings mostly. Ironic, I guess, but I like catching the moments. The ones that still believe in forever. People ask if I'm bitter, if I miss her. No, what I miss is the version of her I thought I had. But you don't mourn a ghost forever. Eventually, you stop waiting for the knock on the door, the apology that never comes, the past that never rewrites itself. You stop checking your phone, and you learn to sit with the silence. Not because you're waiting anymore, but because, finally, you found peace inside it.